Yo, what's going on, man? Today is October the 16th, 2023. It's your boy Chris, and this is another edition of the NBA season team win totals, or just looking at these teams and previewing these teams. So we're going to jump right into it, man. We've done pretty much most of the NBA. We know that the season actually starts next Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow. So let's jump into it, man. Let's just jump right into it. So we have the Toronto Raptors and the New Orleans Pelicans on deck for today. Toronto looking like they're going to struggle again this season, and the Pelicans hoping that they can stay healthy. So let's jump right into them. Before we do, hit the like button for me if you guys can. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and turn the notification bell on. My apologies for being a couple minutes late. I did have this scheduled for 3:45, but ran into some complications there. But needless to say, we still here, man. Let's just jump right into it, see how we can make some money with Toronto this year. So Toronto Raptors, let's make sure I'm connected on Twitter as well. Okay, so Toronto, first team up. Looking at Toronto, you just look at the odds for this team to even make the playoffs, and it gets kind of spooky almost. They're actually a plus 185 just to make the playoffs. Last year they finished 10th in the Eastern Conference and missed the playoffs. You also can get them some extreme odds on them to win the Atlantic Division at plus 4,000, to win the East at plus 6,000, and to win the title at plus 15,000. All different bets that I'm not willing to take right now. Nothing that I want about Toronto. I'm trying to make sure I'm connected over on Twitter as well. It looks like my mic keeps dropping. I'm not 100% sure why, but hopefully you guys can hear me. You guys can hear me on Twitter, and I'm clear on Twitter. Let me just make sure. If not, we'll just keep going, and everything will be recorded. I'll put the link over on Twitter, so we can have that space as well. But getting into Toronto, man. So first and foremost, let's talk about additions and subtractions. So you add Nick Nurse. You subtract Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is now gone. Fred VanVleet also, signed a 3-year, I think it was $130 million contract to go to the Houston Rockets. So you bring in Darko Rajovic, I think is how you pronounce his name, who will be the coach for them. I'm not 100%. I don't really know a lot about this guy. Pretty sure he has some coaching experience. I want to say in the FIBA, somewhere in the FIBA league. You also bring in Dennis Schroeder in free agency to replace Fred VanVleet, which that's not quite the replacement. And you bring in Grady Dick because this was one of the worst shooting teams last year. So you bring in Grady Dick, who played at Kansas last year. He was a Jayhawk. Drafted him. He's a shooter. For people who don't know, pretty big guard. Can shoot the ball pretty decently. Hasn't been having the best preseason so far, but they'll need him. I think he'll play relatively decent minutes as well. Somebody that they want to throw in this rotation and kind of let him get his feet wet. They also end up signing Jalen McDaniel, who came over from Philly. Jalen McDaniel is pretty good role player. Probably gonna come off the bench for this team, but we'll see how that goes. As I mentioned, Nick Nurse is in Philadelphia now. So you look back at this Toronto Raptors team from last year. Last year they finished 28th in three-point shooting, 28th in two-point shooting. And they really thought they had an offensive-minded type team, right? Because you had Fred VanVleet, you had Pascal Siakam. Scotty Barnes was supposed to take the next step, which he really hadn't done. But you look at the numbers, like I said, 28th in three-point shooting and two-point shooting. Their offensive rebounding and lack of turnovers is actually what kept them afloat. This wasn't a team that turned the ball over a lot, and they were a team that got offensive rebounds, although they struggled to get defensive rebounds until they made the trade for Jakob Poeltl. They finished the season just 14-27 on the road. This was a really, really bad road team. You look at Siakam, he had a pretty good season. 24, 8, and 6 is almost 6 assists is what Siakam averaged. But like I talked about, Scotty Barnes, his field goal percentage, his three-point percentage, and rebounds all dropped from his rookie year, where he actually won Rookie of the Year. So that doesn't really help, and they'll need him to kind of take that leap. You bring in Schroeder over the offseason. You add Jakob Poeltl. Like I said, you draft Grady Dick. And what do you have with Toronto? I don't think you have a lot, and the books are kind of, saying the same thing. Like I said, last year they finished 41-41, which was 10th in the East, and the books actually got them projected to only win 36.5 games this season. There's also still the potential that this team could blow up. Masai Ujiri could say, you know what, we've had it, end up trading Pascal Siakam, and now you're looking at a total rebuild versus just a reshift from the point guard position specifically. Because Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Jacoby, Jakob Poeltl, even guys like even some of those bench guys are still a part of this team. You still got Gary Trent Jr. And schedule-wise, they do have this 13th easiest schedule, so about right in the mix. To me, this team's lack of consistent shooting and adding Schroeder, re-signing Jakob Poeltl, still having OG, who's one of the better perimeter defenders in the league, makes me want to lean towards the unders for this team. I think that they still going to struggle to score the ball, especially without the services of Fred VanVleet this year. And you look at them. Last year, they did finish 13th in offensive rating, 11th in defensive rating, but they were the 26th team as far as assist percentage. And they actually shot the ball at the third worst clip in the league at 28% from 28. They were ranked 28th in effective field goal percentage. Also, it's another slow-paced team, not a team that really gets out in transition. They were 25th in pace, which is one of the slower teams in the league. So if I'm playing this win total at 36.5, I don't think – can they win 37 games? I think they absolutely can. Will they? I don't think so. So if I'm playing the total and, I had to pick a side, I would go under for this Toronto Raptors team. Scotty Barnes, I think, will have to take a next step if they're going to get to that next level, and they're going to exceed this win total of 37 games. But the teams in the Eastern Conference, those like tier 3 teams, I think it's some of them that are going to be better than the Toronto Raptors, and we'll just have to see how that goes. So I'm gonna check the YouTube comment section real quick. Like I said, I think Twitter wasn't really letting me host or whatever. I'm not sure what was going on there. Prolific says, "My God, Chris, 2 P's, 2 N's. What's up? How it do? What up, Prolific? Appreciate you being here, man. Y'all hit the like button for me if you guys can." Nobody seems like they really have a lot to talk about when it comes to the Toronto Raptors, and like I said, it's for pretty good reason. So I'm gonna just keep it going. I'm gonna keep moving, get through these previews, and like I said, the season will be here soon. So now, let's talk about what's up, Alex. Appreciate you being here as well, man. Appreciate you tapping in. Let's talk a little bit about the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that I think is a tad bit more exciting to talk about. So I got the odds posted at the bottom. You guys can see them. The Pelicans actually, right now, you can get them at a minus 132. So it's a little juice, but a minus 132 just to make the playoffs. To win the Southwest Division, they are plus 240. For people who don't know, that's the Mavs, the Grizzlies, the Rockets, and the Spurs. I do anticipate this team to have a better record than the Spurs and the Rockets. Probably the Mavs too. I'm not high on the Mavs at all this year. So you're really just having to beat out the Grizzlies for that number 1 spot, in my estimation. You look at them to win the West plus 2,900, and to win the title at 55-1. So yeah, those are the odds for the Pelicans. This is a team that really just wants to run it back, right? We know how their season ended. They end up losing in the playoff in the play-in game to actually on their home floor as well. I remember that game vividly against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I thought they were going to beat OKC. OKC ended up winning that game and ended up losing the next game to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota. So, like I said, they really want to run it back. You bring in Jordan Hawkins, who is one of the bigger guards from UConn, and I think he's going to be good in the league. I like Jordan Hawkins' game, but that doesn't mean he's going to be good immediately. This team didn't really lose anyone either, outside of Jackson Hayes, who's now in LA, of course, playing with the Lakers. So you don't have a lot of turnover. One thing to take into consideration, though, is that Trey Murphy did get hurt. I forgot what the injury was, but this was the team's best 3-point shooter last year. He really picked it up when Zion, wasn't available, and Brandon Ingram as well, who wasn't available. We saw we saw a big leap for Trey Murphy from his first year, from 2 years ago to last year. You look at this Pelicans team. When they were healthy last year, this team was dominant. I know I was betting on them early. They were outscoring opponents by nearly 8 points per 100 possessions when Zion was in the game. I want to say he played 45 games last year that they had when he was on the court, which was in the first 2 months of the season. The Pelicans actually led the league. They had the best win percentage in the league. People might not remember that, but through October, November, December, because we got to remember Zion it was his hamstring. That didn't happen until January. And when that happened, the season pretty much was over. I mean, we couldn't tell it in that moment, but the season was really over. They ended up just falling from number one all the way down to, trying to get into the playoffs, and that didn't work. And it wasn't just Zion as well. I got this in my notes as well. It wasn't just Zion. Zion missed 53 games, but Brandon Ingram also missed 37 games last season. Herb Jones missed 16. Jose Alvarado got hurt, I think, in the preseason before this season started. I think he's going to be hampered by injury to start the season. Jose Alvarado missed 21 games. Larry Nance Jr. missed 17 games as well. So their rotational pieces all kind of missed games outside of CJ McCollum. And I know CJ didn't play every game either, but he was the most durable guy that they had last year. So you look at where they finished at last year, this Pelicans team, and let's just take a look real quick. I know they finished. Let's see. The Pelicans finished in the 10th spot, 42-40 last year. Their win total is sitting at 44.5 games. So the books are anticipating, even in a crowded Western Conference, and we know how deep the Western Conference is, the books are still anticipating this team to win between 3 and 4 more games. And I would have to agree with that number. I can't play it, and I can't play it because injury history tells me that Zion could potentially get hurt again. We know that he has been doing a better job. If you guys have followed it through the postseason, through the offseason, he has been doing a much better job of his dieting, getting into the gym, trying to take care of his body a little bit better. And hopefully it pays off because we've seen this team extend him on a rookie contract, and they've got nothing back in return. This is a team, in my estimation, that when they're fully healthy and you have Valanciunas down there to be able to slow, the rim protection down, Zion is an absolute problem, especially if he can ever get that jump shot to be consistent. Brandon Ingram is a walking bucket that can actually defend if he's really locked into the game. And CJ McCollum is your playmaker. You also got pesky guys like Jose Alvarado and Trey Murphy, who's going to play pretty good defense. Interested to see what Dyson Daniels does off the bench because he was pretty much a no-show last year when he did get his playing time. But I know Willie Green is a player's coach, and I think his team will kind of rally around what, the message. And this is a team that really hung their hats on the defensive end last year. They played really good defense, didn't play at a really fast pace. So I could see them winning 45 games, but in order for them to win 45 games, I need Zion to be present for at least 75, right? That's what we haven't been able to see from Zion. So those are my thoughts on the Pelicans, man. You look at their strength of schedule, it's right in the middle. They're 15th most difficult, 15th easiest, because 15 is, right in the middle. So middle of the pack number for far as their strength of schedule. But I think that this team, if Zion can stay healthy, can really make a run. They can really make a run in a crowded Western Conference with Denver at the top, with Phoenix at the top, with the Lakers being up there. Golden State will be good again this year. But I think the Pelicans absolutely, to get them at the playoff number of minus 132 just to make the playoffs seems feasible if you're telling me Zion is going to stay healthy. And those are my thoughts on the Pelicans, man. I don't want to be too long-winded. Joe says, yes, sir, watch Hawkins a lot at UConn. Duke can shoot it. That's what they need. They'll need shooting because when Brandon Ingram, if Zion can stay healthy, he'll play a lot of ISO ball. We know he likes to get the ball. Defenders play off of him. So he can shoot the little jump shot, but he's most effective when he gets to the rim. This is a guy that shot the ball. I'm not sure what field goal percentage he shot, but it was had to be 60% last year, if not higher, in the 45 games that he did play. So you're going to need guys like Hawkins to be able to catch and shoot. Guys like Jose Alvarado, guys like Trey Murphy to be able to knock down shots when he's kicking. CJ McCollum, same thing. We know CJ can shoot the ball. Brandon Ingram, they're going to have to make those wide open shots. I hope he stays healthy as well, Alex. I absolutely do. Said, appreciate you being here as always, my guy. Joe says, facts, they wouldn't. they will be so good if he stays healthy. I absolutely agree. And Joe says he also likes the Dyson Daniels kid. Dyson Daniels is a very big, like he has really long arms, can really play. They bought him in for defense. I know he's from Australia, and I watched him play at times last year. Interesting to see his development because from year 1 to year 2, typically players start to make some strides. So we'll see what that looks like. And then lastly, Sid said, well, not lastly, Sid says if Zion can't give us a full season and available for the playoffs, he got to go play for the Saints, DN or tight end. I agree, Sid. He's going to have to do something, man. He definitely going to have to do something. I also think that, David Griffin at the top of this, this pillar of getting these players together, being a GM in New Orleans, I think the team breaks up. Like, this has to be the last year because you're not going to keep all of these guys in their prime under contract when you think about how much money you're shelling out to all these guys either. So I think it's make or break year for Zion, even though he is still pretty young. Teams are at some point not going to want to pay him. So they could, and the rumbling started a little bit over the course of this offseason where they were talking about trading him. It never happened. I don't think the noise got that big. Pats are so bad they could use Zion too. They absolutely could. The Patriots are atrocious right now. And yeah, Joshua, I'm not sure what happened with the Twitter space. It really, for some reason, it just wouldn't let me connect. So not 100% sure what's going on there. But I appreciate you guys tapping in with me here, and I'll retweet this. Put the link in and retweet this for people who did want the breakdown over on Twitter. And that's what I got for you guys today, man. Tomorrow we will be discussing let me see which teams are next. The Indiana Pacers. I'm excited to talk about them and the Dallas Mavericks. Indiana Pacers and Dallas Mavericks. I kind of gave you guys a little insight on the Dallas Mavericks for this season so far. I'll elaborate a little bit more on that, but I'm not a buyer on that of that team right now as currently constructed. And I actually thought their odds was crazy. I'm going to actually tweet it out. I was looking at something earlier. Dallas odds to win the championship are like astronomically better than the Timberwolves odds. And I think the Timberwolves actually finished with a better record than the Dallas Mavericks this season, but that's just my opinion. Kyrie and Luka not going to be enough in my estimation. Appreciate you, Joe, for tapping in with me, and everybody else is here. If you guys could do me a favor, like I said, just hit the like button for me, retweet the show, share the show, all that good stuff. Greatly appreciate it. Tomorrow, we'll get into the Dallas Mavericks. We'll get into the Indiana Pacers. Also, if you guys are watching, I did take the liberty for the game on Wednesday. I got them at a -2.5. I think the line's 3.5, maybe 4.5 now. But the news hasn't come out quite yet about Chelsea Gray. She did leave on crutches, and the Liberty were able to avoid the sweep and win Game 3 yesterday at Barclay to make that series 2-1 in favor of the Aces. But without Chelsea Gray, I don't think that this offense is going to be able to stabilize. I think the line should be Aces -4.5, Aces -5. Honestly, I think the Liberty still kind of run away with it. I went and looked at the defensive metrics and the offensive metrics. It looks like to me Chelsea Gray should move the line about 5 points. It should be about 4.5 or 5 is what I think the line should be in favor of the Liberty when you look at her offensive and defensive impact. And I don't think that you can fill that void as well. So give you guys a WNBA play that I'm on. As far as Monday Night Football tonight, Cowboys and Chargers, I didn't play anything. But if I do play anything, I'll share that out on a timeline over on Twitter and with my members as well. And definitely check out OddsJam as well. I didn't mention OddsJam, but best place you guys going to be able to find any type of odds. I was looking at Liberty to win the championship at +350 earlier. Over on BetMGM, I think had the best odds. So definitely you want to be comparing your odds for sure, man. But that's what I'm thinking about today, man. That's what I think about the Pelicans. I think that they absolutely could, crush it this year. And I don't like the Toronto Raptors this year. I know a lot of times I got some slander last year for, being a little low on the Raptors, but the Raptors did exactly what I thought they would last year. So we'll see what happens this year. The team might not even look the way that it looks now in the middle of the season after the trade deadline. Appreciate you guys for tapping in, though, man. Like I said, hit the like button for me if you can. Until I see you guys tomorrow, I'm out.